everyone, and welcome to this online class. Today we're going to look at twisting, some twisting postures, but we're going to start by lying down. So just take your time to really find the ground beneath you, becoming aware of the touch of your feet against the ground, your bottoms, their connection with the ground, not necessarily your lumbar spine. We all have natural curvature in our lumbar spine, so just let that be free. Becoming aware of the shoulder blades and the back of the skull. You never want to feel as though your head is falling away from you. So if necessary, just tuck the chin in a little bit to find width and length through the back of your skull. And then just let your arms find a place where they feel comfortable. They could be resting on your belly, or they could be on the ground alongside you. And then just take a few moments to come into your yogic space. So just letting go of anything, any thoughts, any problems that you might have brought to the mat. And just focusing on your breath without trying to change or force your breath in any way. Just observing the passage of air through your nostrils. And the way that the breath moves your body. It's by bringing your wholehearted attention to your breath, to your posture, that you can let go of any other thoughts. There's literally no more space in your mind if you're fully focused on your breath and your posture. Okay, we're going to start by lifting the right leg towards the sky. Before you do that, focus on your left foot and feel how, as the left foot pours into the ground and feeds back towards your spine, there's a lightening in your right foot, so that then from the spine, the right foot lifts and the leg opens towards the sky. Now, don't be tempted to push through your heel to lock the back of the knee, but rather it's almost a feeling in the opposite direction. If you imagine some kind of weight on your foot that gives your foot back to the spine. So there's this connection between the extremity of your limb and your spine. And between those two places, little by little, you can allow the back of the knee to open. But for some of you, the back of the knee might need to stay soft for the moment. Gently place your hands behind the thigh. Relax your shoulders so that you're not pulling with your hands. And just as you breathe in, let the leg drift back away from you into your hands. And as you breathe out, let the leg drift towards you. So I'm not pulling my leg towards me. I'm using the weight of my arms rather than the strength of my shoulders to encourage that leg inwards. Breathe in, let the leg float away from you. Breathe out, let it come towards you. So we're kind of gently allowing the leg, the back of the thigh, to open and lengthen, but without forcing that in any way. When you do begin to feel a bit of a stretchy feeling through the back of the thigh, just play with that a little bit. Don't try to stretch even more and force the leg inwards, but think about softening the skin. And as you soften the skin, where it might feel as though it's pulling, you release then what's underneath that skin. And then gently bend that knee, and we'll do the same thing with the other leg. So we're going to lift the left leg in a moment. Before you do, feel the right foot pouring into the ground, feeding back to the spine, which in turn begins to lighten that left leg, which can then float upwards. Again, the knee can be quite open if you're flexible enough, or it can stay nice and soft. Remember, you're not pushing through your heel. You're letting the weight of the foot feed back to the spine. Hands gently behind the thigh, relax your shoulders, and the same thing, breathe in, let the leg rest into your hands, floating away from you slightly. Breathe out, let the leg be drawn back towards you. Try and keep the leg as open as is comfortable for you. Breathe in, it floats away. Breathe out, drawn towards you. Do that a couple more times. And then keeping the leg in towards you, just work with softening any places that feel that kind of pull. So probably behind the thigh, maybe behind the knee, maybe behind the calf. Just breathe into those places, softening the skin, and then letting what's underneath the skin release. And bend that knee, both feet flat on the floor. Just rock around a little bit if you need to. And then we're going to lift both legs. So in the same way, begin by pressing both feet into the ground, feeding back towards the spine, and then from the spine, feel the legs lighten and let both legs float upwards. No pushing through the heels, but more a sense, I think of little animals sitting on my feet, little kittens, and then the weight of that gives me back to my spine. So it's from the touch of my spine against the ground that the legs lighten and float up. And then the same thing with the arms. The arms also grow from the spine. So find a place, for example, between your shoulder blades. Let that place open and release into the ground. And from that place, let the arms float up. And the same way as with the legs, you're not pulling on your fingertips or pushing your hands upwards. You could imagine your fingertips connecting with a kind of false ceiling, and from that ceiling, from that connection, they feed back down through the shoulders towards the spine. And so you're just hanging here, not pulling on the shoulders, let the shoulders rest on the rib cage, not pushing with the heels, let the legs rest back through the pelvis, and just breathe here. Now you're going to take the left foot back to the ground. Left arm can do whatever it feels comfortable doing, but allow the right foot and the right hand to connect. You might find it easy to catch hold of the big toe or the edge of your foot, or if the knee needs to be a little bit softer, then you might find it easier catching hold behind the calf or behind the thigh. The work here is to explore the full range of movement inside that right hip. So, to somebody looking on, it might look as though we're stretching the right leg, but it's not a mindless stretch. It's again more of this feeling in both the arm and the leg that you are feeding back towards your spine, and then from the spine you're growing. You can grow the leg out to the side. You can bend the knee in order to feel more that connection with the spine. You can then open the knee. You can bring the leg back towards you, which is kind of what we were doing just now with our hands behind the thighs. You can lift the head. Now, remember, when you lift the head is exactly the same as your foot or your hand. It doesn't start at the joint, the neck joint, or the shoulder joint, or the hip joint. Everything starts at the spine. So when you lift your head, you're not lifting with your shoulders or your neck, you're lifting with your spine. The more you let the spine press into the ground, the lighter the body will become. So you can play with lifting the head, but we're still focusing on just freeing up inside that right hip. Okay, when you've had a little play like that, straighten the left leg away from you. Don't lose the left foot. It's still connecting with the ground, feeding back to your spine. Change hands on your right foot. So it's the left hand now, connecting either with the knee or the calf or the foot itself. And this is our first twist. This is a lying twist. You're going to put your right hand onto your right waist, and as you peel the right waist back to the ground, you let the left leg come across the body. Now you might be feeling a little bit in the hip, but that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is this feeling of the waist turning around your spine. So the waist is being peeled back. You can see I'm using my right hand to caress my waist, peeling it back to the right as the leg crosses over the body. Just keep breathing, softening. No pushing or pulling or forcing. Remember always, it's in the release of tension that these postures will open to you. Okay, carefully bring the knee back in towards the chest. Just rock around a little bit there, and then place both feet flat onto the floor again. Lifting the left leg. Same as before. You let the left hand connect with the left leg, wherever feels comfortable. Think about the space in the left groin. Make sure there's a sense of space in there, that you're not squishing the leg towards you. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the hips, and then you begin to play with opening that leg. Remember, it's what's going on inside the hip that's interesting. You can bend the knee, open the knee. You can bring the leg back towards you. You can lift the head. Continue to explore. Rolling around, exploring the full range of movement in that left hip. Then you're going to straighten the right leg along the mat, again without losing the foot. Change hands on the left leg, and put your left hand onto the waist. Again, a nice opportunity there to free up some space in the groin. And then the twist comes by peeling the waist back to the left And at the same time, letting the leg cross over your body. So, again, no pushing. Doesn't matter how far you go, the leg might still be practically vertical. That doesn't matter. Just work with the feelings, the sensations, the freeing, the loosening, the opening. Good, and come back. Okay. Bring both knees in towards the chest. And again, lengthen the legs towards the sky. Now, another little twist. We're going to take the right leg and cross it over the left leg. Try and cross, use your hands to guide your legs. Try and cross as high on your thighs as you can. And then place your hands onto your knees and bend your knees. So your left hand is on the knee that's closest to you, it's your right knee, and your right hand is on the knee, the left knee, the one that's furthest away from you. Just be there for a moment. You can make little circular movements with your knees, relaxing the shoulders. That's going to give a nice massage to your lower back. You can circle one way and then the other. And then with your left hand, you're going to gently guide your feet to the ground on the left-hand side. Forget about your right shoulder for the moment. If it needs to lift, let it lift. Once your feet are on the ground, it's the same thing. You're going to put your right hand onto your waist, and as you peel the waist back to the right, you very gently let your knees continue to descend to the left. So this is true of all of our twists. I've completely ignored my shoulders. It's as though they don't exist. I'm certainly not forcing the twist by pulling my right shoulder back. The twist begins with the belly. There's a freeing of the belly and a feeling of your waist turning around your spine. That's where the twist is born. Eventually, the rib cage follows. I'm still using my right hand to caress the right side of my body. I'm using my left hand to gently continue to guide the knees in the opposite direction. Yeah, the rib cage follows, and eventually that right shoulder might follow. And at that point you might be able to let the right arm relax onto the ground. But it's a very different feeling to forcing the right shoulder to lead the twist. If the head does want to roll to the right, it can, but again, no tension, no forcing. Okay. Pressing the feet into the ground in order to gently roll back, unfolding your legs, bringing the knees gently into the chest. I often recommend just placing the heels of your hands onto the knees, because if you put the whole of your hand, there's a temptation to pull the knees towards you. I want to keep the shoulders nice and relaxed and the lower back nice and relaxed. Okay, lengthening the legs up towards the sky again. Remember, you're not pushing through the heels. I could spend hours in this posture, just with my legs up in the sky. But I won't. So, same thing here. We're going to cross the left leg over the right leg, using my hands to try and cross as high on my thighs as I can. And then with the hands on the knees, you bend those knees. So this time the right hand is closer to my body, the left hand further away. I'm just going to do some little circles one way and the other, just loosening everything up. And then with the right hand, again forget your left shoulder, with the right hand guide the feet to the ground. Try and go nice and slowly. Once the feet are there, don't worry about your knees just yet. Put the left hand onto your waist. And again begin peeling the waist around your spine, back to the left. And at the same time, little by little, the knees are continuing their descent. And beginning to feel the rib cage follow the movement of the waist. And some of you might still have your shoulder a long way away from the ground, that's fine. Just continue to work on the waist and the rib cage, and then maybe the left shoulder will land, and you can let the arm rest on the ground. Again, if the head wants to roll to the left, you can let that happen. Just breathe there. Okay, then pressing the feet into the ground to spring back up, rolling onto your back, unfold your legs. Last time, just bring the knees in towards your chest, lightly, massage the lower back, and then roll onto your right hand sides and slowly come up to a sitting position. So if you can sit comfortably with your legs crossed, then that's a nice place to be. If that's not comfy, you can take one leg out in front of you, or indeed both legs. You could even be on your knees for this posture if necessary. But as I say, if it is comfortable, the easiest place to be is in an easy cross-legged position. Just take a few moments in the same way that you did when we came to lie, to find the ground beneath you. Find your feet, find your bottoms. Feel the connection between the touch of those places against the ground and your spine. The more you let those places sink into the ground, the more the upper body will lift. So you're finding this inner support through the spine. Think about the support of the space around you as well. So you're being supported thanks to the ground through your bones, but you're also supported by the idea of space. Think about the space behind the back of your skull, the the back of your neck, your shoulder blades, the back of your waist. Let yourselves almost lean into that space. But at the same time, there's space in front of your body as well. And you can lean into that. So it feels really as though you're sandwiched between the two. And there's also space on either side of you into which you can feel an expansion. Now we're going to start by raising the arms, but again, before you do, just remember that this does not involve the shoulders. The arms do not begin at the shoulder joint. The arms begin, as do the legs, at the spine. So keeping your shoulders just resting on the rib cage, they have nothing else to do. From the spine, find a way of unfolding your arms towards the sky. Let the arms travel through the shoulders. If you suddenly feel that the shoulders have begun to hunch, be aware, pause, give them back, and continue your journey. There's no need to hold your arms in place here. They're floating in the sky, in the same way as they floated when we were lying on our backs. So you're not pulling with your fingertips, you're growing from your spine. The elbows can stay soft, or little by little they can open, but not because you're pulling them open, but because they're growing. Now keep the right hand where it is and bring the left hand onto the right knee. Going into a sideways stretch, but again growing from the spine, not by pulling from the fingertips. So think more in this opening of just opening the right side of your body. Don't think about going over as far as you can. Keep the shoulders rested, keep the neck rested, keep the thighs relaxed. Don't hold on with your thighs. You're being supported through your spine, and you're just allowing the right side of the body to open. As the spine lengthens over. Come back, place this right hand onto the left knee, place the left hand behind you. Okay, this is our first sitting twist. Now again, it doesn't come from pulling the shoulders or forcing the head around. It comes from the belly. You need to make space for your belly by releasing the lower half of your body to the ground, letting the upper half of your body lift and separate. Visualize your spine, and then allow the waist, the belly, front of the belly is, or rather the belly is the front of the waist. So allow the waist to turn around that vertical spine. Keep your head resting between the two shoulders. Keep the shoulders resting. The movement is coming from the waist, turning around your spine. The rib cage might follow, and eventually the shoulders will follow, but they're not leading you. So you're not trying to go as far as you can go. You're trying to keep observing all of the same elements. Which parts of your body are touching the ground? From that touch, can you be supported through the spine? Can you let go of any tension anywhere in the body so that the waist is free to turn? The rib cage follows, and the shoulders last of all. Come back to the center, and the last thing we'll do here in our sitting posture is a forwards bend. Now again, it's not what we think. Rather than, well, definitely don't let the shoulders lead. Again, they just stay resting on the rib cage. Rather than thinking about going forwards, can you think about your bottoms going down and backwards? So in that direction. If it helps, you can put your hands behind you to get a sense of that diagonal feeling of the bottoms going back and down. And they in turn project the upper body upwards and forwards. And you just go little by little. You pause at each point. The minute you start to feel stretchy, either in the thighs or the hips or the lower back, like we did earlier, don't force your way past that stretch, but try to focus on softening the skin, releasing what's underneath the skin. So my arms want to slightly change now. Wherever you put your hands, you're not pulling, ever. The hands are just there to give you more support through the spine so that you can let go of more tension and move more deeply into each posture. So again, bottoms going backwards and down, upper body going up and forwards. Doesn't matter how far you go, you might still be sitting vertically. Doesn't matter. Okay, and come back up. Change the cross of your legs. Just get used to being there. It's a slightly different feeling when you change the cross of your legs. So again, just make sure you know where your feet are. Your feet are springing back to the spine. You've got that inner support. You can let go of any tension, particularly in the shoulders or the neck, the thighs. And the first part of this sequence, to let the arms find a way of flowing from the spine, through the shoulders, towards the sky. Let the shoulders rest. Breathe here. Don't hold your arms in place. Keep the left hand where it is. Bring the right hand onto your left knee. Sideways opening. Don't think about stretching. It's almost as though that left side of your body is expanding into the space alongside it. You're supported through your spine, so you can free the neck and shoulder. And just breathe into this sideways opening. Do less than you think you should or could. Do less. Feel more. And come back. Place this left hand onto your right knee, the right hand behind you. Take a little while here, remind yourselves it's a twist, but you're not going with the shoulders. That's our gut, our kind of knee-jerk reaction. No, you're coming from the waist, so you need to make space for your waist. You need to visualize your spine from its very root, where it touches the ground, to the tip of the spine where it touches the skull. Let the lower body descend, the upper body separate and lift, and that's how you'll find space for the waist to turn. Don't pull with this left hand, it's just sitting there. Let the waist turn. Keep the shoulders rested, keep the head just centered between the shoulders, and turn. Breathe. Come back. And the last one on this side, this, let's call it a backwards bend. The bottom going backwards and down, projecting, springing the upper body up and forwards. You're folding over that space in the groin. I'm lifting my head to look at the screen to kind of feel connected to you, but try not to lift your head because that's going to shorten the back of your neck. So try to keep the back of the neck lovely and long. It's travelling from the spine through the shoulders. Hands can be wherever feels helpful to you, but just don't use them to pull or push you into a posture. I would use my hands almost to resist the posture. To make the journey even longer. Okay, coming on to all fours now. So as always, when we change position, just take time to get used to the new position. Find which parts of your body are touching the ground. Try to find an equality of touch, an equality of awareness. From all of those parts of the body, connect with your spine. And let's just spend a few moments here freeing up the spine. So rather than trying to mechanically do movements, I think it's cat and cow stretch, I'm not interested in that. Try to come inside to an awareness of your bones, an awareness of your spine, and just imagine creating space around the very tail of your spine, all around the lumbar spine, the thoracic and cervical spines, space around your shoulder joints, your elbows, your wrists, space around your hip joints, your knees, your ankles, and just allow your bones to enjoy this feeling of space and to dance underneath your skin. So again, a way to create space is to begin by softening your skin, releasing what's underneath it, and that's going to create space for your bones to move around. Now in the same spirit, we're just going to go into a twist from here. Let's keep the left hand where it is and bring the right arm underneath. I think they call this threading the needle. And just gently lay the right side of your face onto the ground. Now it's a new position, so get used to being here. Try to find an awareness of the ground beneath each of the points that are touching it. And then we're going to start trying to free up the waist again. Because here I want the waist to turn around my spine, opening to the left. So keep the bottom nice and relaxed. If you need to wiggle around a little bit, make sure it's soft, not stretching or straining. And the waist is turning around the belly. If you feel confident here, you can begin to lift the left arm, keeping the idea of the belly turning around the spine. I'm going to free up that left arm a little bit and take it down behind the waist, as if I wanted to catch hold of the top of my right thigh. I'm just going to encourage, not forcing anything, not forcing the left shoulder. I'm keeping it loose and free. And if that's too uncomfortable, you can keep the left hand on the ground, or you can just put it onto your bottom. It's quite an intense twist, so when you come out of this, come out slowly. Put the left hand first, and then by pushing the left hand into the ground, that lightens the rest of your body. And up you come, back onto all fours. Still freeing up my whole skeleton. And then the same thing on the other side. So the right hand stays where it is. The left hand threads underneath, and I'm coming to just lay the left side of my face onto the ground. Get used to being here. Find both feet, both knees, both hands. And then find an awareness of your spine, free up your belly, and let it begin to turn to the right. Again, if you're feeling safe, you can lift the right arm, play around with it, freeing up inside the shoulder, to maybe bring it behind the waist, towards the top of the left thigh. And you don't have to do that bit at all. And if you do it, just make sure that you can still, that you're not suddenly hanging on for dear life. That you're still free enough to move and wiggle and ripple. And gently onto the ground, and up you come onto all fours. Tuck your toes under here. Walk your hands back a little bit and lift your knees. So you're sitting in a bit of a squatting position. Just again, be here for a little while, freeing up your hips. You can see how I'm sort of moving from side to side, freeing up my shoulders. And then from here we're going to open into it's kind of half Uttanasana, half downward facing dog by equalizing the awareness in my feet and my hands, finding their connection with my spine, and by letting the feet and hands pour into the ground, the spine responds by lifting into kind of downward facing dog position. Just going to stay here for a little bit, just letting everything release. And then walk the hands back towards you, press into your feet and unfold to Tadasana, where I realise that my head is temporarily cut off. I shall think of that if we're doing more standing postures next week. But for now it's okay, because here I am. We're going to go into a half Uttanasana. So find your feet. Let your feet sink into the ground and spring back towards your spine. So you're lifting through your belly button, you're supported through your spine as the bottoms begin to float backwards and the upper body comes forwards. So you're in a half Uttanasana. From here, again, we're working on a twist. Put your left hand onto your bottom. Put your right elbow onto your right knee. Not leaning into any of those places, you're still being lifted through your spine. And then feel the separation between your bottom going one way, your upper body going the other way, and let the belly begin to turn around your spine, opening to the left. The right knee has probably bent a little bit, but you're still equally aware of both legs, both feet, lifting into your belly button. From the belly button, the bottom's going one way, the upper body's lengthening in the other way. If you're flexible enough, you can put your right hand onto the ground instead of on the knee. And then as the belly turns, the rib cage follows. The shoulders might follow to the extent that you might be able to then lift the left arm towards the sky. Try not to think about the shape you're making. Try to think about all of those same elements. You've either got 2 feet or 2 feet and a hand on the ground. The awareness in all 3 of those places is equal. Good. Bring the arm back down. You're either in half Uttanasana again, or you might have lengthened into a full Uttanasana. Wherever you are, come back up. My head's been chopped off again. It's not a problem. Same thing on the other side. Find your feet first. Lift up into the spine by pouring down into the ground. Begin to let the bottom float backwards. The upper body floats forwards. You're in a half Uttanasana, both feet. Right hand comes onto your hip. The left elbow rests on the left knee. You don't lean into it. You're being lifted through your spine. If you'd rather have the left hand on the ground, that's fine. The left knee will have bent a little bit, but the feeling through both legs is the same. I work first on lengthening, creating space for my belly. And then, as you find that space, the belly turns around the spine. The rib cage follows. And if the shoulders follow too, and if it feels comfortable, the right arm can lift. And don't just be there. Keep exploring. Are you holding yourselves in this shape? Try not to. Try to find freedom, lightness in this posture. And then bring the hand back, carefully back to either a half Uttanasana or a full Uttanasana. Just letting yourselves rest here without collapsing. We'll look at Uttanasana in another class. Good. Now from here we're going to bend the knees to come into a squat. But can you go as slowly as you can and try to resist the descent? So it's as though those giant hands are lifting your waist, and every time you bend your knees a little bit more, they're kind of pulling you back up again. So you're coming down as slowly and as mindfully as you can. At some point you might need to shift your hands or lift your heels a little. That's okay. But eventually coming into a squat which isn't heavy. You don't collapse into it. You've almost lifted yourself into this squat. If it feels safe, you can put your hands in prayer. If not, you can keep your hands on the ground. And just breathe here for a few moments. Okay, then come to sit. Sitting in, I'll stay this way I think, sitting in Uttanasana. Now in Dandasana. Dandasana, which is the same as a half Uttanasana. So with your legs out in front of you, don't try forcing the legs to straighten. Do you remember this is the same posture as when we were lying on our backs with our legs floating up in the air? So you're not looking to push out through your heels and lock your knees. You're looking for a connection between your feet that give back to your spine. So see if you can find that sitting in Dandasana. You can use your hands to help support you if you need to. So as I say, if you need to have your knees bent, even bent a lot, that's not a problem. Just find your feet, let them feed back to your spine. If on the other hand you can straighten your legs, then that's lovely too. For the moment, just focusing on growing tall. Say, use your hands if you need to. The more you let your bottoms release into the ground, the lighter the upper body will become. And rather than having to hold it in place, you'll find a lightness. Here as well, in this posture, you can use the idea of space. behind you, in front of you, on either side of you, to help support you. Okay, from Dandasana we're going to go into Paschimottanasana, or towards Paschimottanasana, same as when we were sitting cross-legged. Don't think about pulling forwards with your shoulders. Think about going down and back through your bottoms, and let the upper body go up and forwards. You're folding over the space in the groin. The bottom, back and down. The upper body up and forwards. Again, no forcing. When you get to a place where things begin to pull or stretch, just pause there. You can't force your way through it. Just see if you can soften it. It's like a communication with your body. You need to stop it panicking by softening the skin and then releasing what's underneath the skin. It's quite helpful as you move towards Paschimottanasana as well to play with the space above you. It's kind of, again, this feeling of almost wanting to resist the descent. So the space above you is kind of pressing you down, but you're resisting. You're growing back into that space. And as you do that, what's on the other side, so the front of your body, will soften a little bit more. And you might be able to go a little bit deeper towards the posture. So again, it's just nice to spend time on this journey. Not be in a hurry to achieve the perfect shape, to get to any kind of destination. Be willing to take a few steps back, to come out of the posture and find perhaps a different way in. Okay, and come back up. So now I'm going to stay with you as you practice Shavasana, your relaxation and recuperation. So I'm going to stay sitting. If you feel like sitting and you're comfortable sitting, you can do that, but it's much nicer to lie down. But again, just take your time. You're moving into a new posture, Shavasana or Sukhasana, where I am. You know, Shavasana is not just a crashing out posture. It's a proper posture. So you move into it as carefully as you can. I usually start with my knees bent and sort of guide myself down onto my back. Then I spend some time releasing my shoulders and the back of my neck, releasing the lumbar spine. And then only when my lower back feels comfortable enough would I think about straightening my legs along the mat. So if you're there, close your eyes and just connect with your breath without trying to change or force your breath in any way. Simply observe. Do you feel the breath more in your nose or in your throat or somewhere else? Do you feel the breath filling your belly or your lungs or both? Again, these aren't instructions of how you should be feeling. They're just reminders to observe what's going on in your body. There's no right or wrong way to any of this. Do you notice a difference in temperature when you breathe in, when you breathe out? Is your breath deep or shallow? Let your awareness rest in your hands. Notice the sensations in the palms of your hands. Notice the sensations in the backs of your hands. Take this awareness to your fingertips. Can you imagine your two hands as one entity? Do you feel any energy in your hands? Any tingling or vibrating? Do your hands feel heavy? Or on the contrary, do they feel like they could float up into the sky? Do you have any sense of a colour surrounding your hands? You may not. Just observe. Do you feel warmth in your hands? Or do they feel cool? Place your hands now onto your body, onto your abdomen or chest, or perhaps one hand in each place. And just observe the movement of your body beneath your hands. Now allow your breath to deepen, and as you take these deeper breaths, bring your awareness slowly back to the present moment. Become aware of your body lying on the mat, and just begin to gently move your fingers, your toes, as you bend one knee after the other. When you feel fully present, roll gently onto your right hand side. Stay there for a few moments before you come back to sit. Bring your hands into prayer. Allow a lovely big smile to appear on your face, and gently incline your head. With this smile, formulate a positive thought for the yoga that you've just practiced. Give yourselves a little pat on the back for being here. Shanti. So thank you for practicing with me. I miss you all saying Shanti back at me. But there we go, only temporary I hope. And the advantage is that you can watch that class as often as you want to. So you can actually get into a daily practice. And then next week, if we're still unable to see each other in person, there'll be another. I'll do another class with some different things that you can have fun practicing with too. Okay, see you soon.